Today I'm talking about parenting teens, the 7 secrets to success, and this is part 5. So I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. I'm Carlene Lehmann. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in private practice, which is located in Austin, Texas. And you can go to our website at www.relationshipsmatteraustin.com, and we have lots of information about our services and then articles and videos to help support you on this journey of parenting your teen. A little bit about my background is I have experience working with teens in the public school system. I've been both a general education and special education teacher. I've helped support kids, teens with issues with emotional regulation, and then also with interpersonal skills, so getting along with their peers and their teachers and knowing how to communicate with them, and then also have done work with self-esteem because oftentimes they've dealt with these issues for many years, right, in elementary school as well, and helping them to be able to develop confidence within themselves. And I really enjoyed that work, and it taught me so much because I worked with so many different teens and parents over those years. And then now I work as a therapist, and I have a private practice, so teens and parents come into my office and I help them with a lot of the similar struggles, but also about building their connection and communicating with each other and having some more understanding where each person is coming from, and just supporting teens and parents with the challenges, right? With the feelings that come up, and having a place to come and talk about it where they don't have to worry about filtering or worry about someone being critical of them, where I can just be supportive and hear them out and ask different questions that can prompt them to think about some things too. And then I'm also a mom of 3 teenagers, and one of them has Asperger's. So I get the challenges that come when we have a kid that has special needs and how we have to think about that differently at times. So the 7 secrets to success, we are talking about number 5 today, being a good role model, but I want to review the others as well. Number 1, we talked about becoming an expert in adolescent development. 2, we talked about the 3 things teens need most, which are love, boundaries, and power. 3, we talked about new communication techniques. 4, we talked about allowing your teen to fail, which is not always easy, for sure. And then 5 is today, being a good role model. And then the next parts we'll talk about number 6, going back to the basics, and 7, develop and nurturing a support network for yourself. So today, we were talking about being a good role model, which that is not always easy because it is about us being mindful of our own behavior. And they're learning by watching us, and that's been their whole life, right? And so we have to hold ourselves to a high expectation. So some things to think about in being a good role model for our teens is that as the adult, we're the ones who create the environment and the family culture in our home. That's our job. We're the ones that have the control over that. They don't. They can definitely, speak up and have suggestions and influence, but it's our job, right? We're the adult. We're the one responsible. And if our focus is on changing our teen, that's probably not going to lead to very good results, right? That's going to cause power struggles, a lot of pushback, a lot of drama and arguments. And one way to think about this is, what if our spouse was trying to get us to change, right? We wouldn't appreciate that. We wouldn't like it. And how we approach that is so important. The way we talk about it. So that's something to think about, right? What if I was in their shoes and it was my partner, saying these things to me? We can kind of rehearse that and run it through our head before it comes out of our mouth. And then we can adjust, I don't know that would go over too well. Let me think about it and be more mindful about how I'm going to say things. It's okay to take that time to do that, and can lead to a lot better results in the end too. So instead, what we actually have under our control is what our behavior is, right? And that can influence other people. We don't have control over other people's behavior. That's for them. And so that's a huge piece to remember, that the control is with ourselves. And so a question that we can ask ourselves is, how can I maximize my influence, right? In a positive way. This is also a time for us to learn and grow as a parent. Just like our teen is learning and growing and trying new things, we're going to need to do the same, which sometimes can be hard as an adult because we might sort of feel like a beginner, and that can lead to some uneasy feelings at times. But it is important to know that we are learning and growing right along with them, no matter if this is your first, second, third, or, whatever child, because each one is unique and they have different personalities and they're going to need different things. So what works for one may not work for the others. So being really careful and aware of our tone of voice. So sometimes we kind of might need to experiment a little, like what we might feel like is a supportive tone, they may not. And, and we may have one kid that feels like it is supportive and one that feels like it's critical. And so we have to tweak it. But when we communicate, really watching how our teen responds, and, it's not always personal. Sometimes it may be that they're in a bad mood or overwhelmed by things that happened at school. And so it may not be us, but it is important to kind of consider, if they got really upset, did I say that in a way that wasn't the best, that wasn't the most respectful? And, I can speak up and I can apologize for that. And I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to talk to you that way, or, that was very disrespectful of me to speak to you like that. I'm going to do it different, and then start doing it different. So sometimes we might need to experiment and see what gets the best responses and actions from them. So a huge thing in this being a good role model is learning to respond and not react. So what I mean by responding is our kid does something and then we just blurt out, a response without a whole lot of thought to that. And, usually it can be to get angry, right, or we're hurt. And so the things that we say are not always the nicest. And what I want to suggest is that instead of reacting, that we, when someone does something, and this works for teens, it works for our partners, it works for our coworkers. It's, humans in general, this respond, not react. But when they do something, if we feel that it's triggering us, if we can pause, right? If we can have some space in there, we don't have to just blurt something out. We can wait, and then we can think about it, right, before we say something. And so that we can respond and not just have a reaction. And when we have that pause in there, we are able to be more open-minded, and we're listening to learn from the person that's talking to us. We can even ask them questions if we're unsure about something, because we're listening and processing it and saying, oh wait, hold on, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I need some more information. And if we pause, we will recognize that. And then when we react, we often speak from emotion and we become defensive. Those walls come up, and then we can lose control. So I really like this little quote here. It says, when you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. That's where your power is. So the control is with yourself. The power is with yourself, in trying to understand what's going on in the situation. So if something's happening and you're feeling some feelings inside, you can stop and pause and think, what is going on for me right now? What's happening within me? Like, trying to understand where it's coming from, right? And not just lash out and take it out on the other person. So it's an important strategy to have a response plan for those things that challenge us or trigger us. It helps to have that plan so that we can put it into action when things go awry. And it's helpful to develop this plan before we're in one of those challenging situations, because when we're in it, it's really hard to come up with some new skills. But if we have developed this and practiced it when things are like at a lower, what I call a lower level, then if we've built that up, it's like a muscle that we're strengthening, then it's easier to apply it in those challenging situations, which it will definitely take a lot of practice and skill. And the good news is when you parent a teen, you will have a lot of opportunities to practice these skills. So if you feel like you have messed it up, there's ways of repairing that. And, knowing, okay, next time I'm going to try again. I'm going to do it differently. And it's one step at a time. It's not that we can get it all right the first time. We're learning and growing too. So in our plan, there's these 4 steps that I suggest, and you can even write these out and put it down on paper so that you can look at it when things are challenging. So step 1 is when we feel there's some challenge or trigger, we want to breathe deeply. We want to take some deep belly breaths. So we want to right? Just real deep. We breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And our belly, it expands like a balloon when we breathe in. And then when we release it, it's like releasing the air out of a balloon. And if we need to, we can sleep on it, right? Whatever the issue is, we don't have to have an answer right then. You don't have to feel that pressure. So just slow things down. Notice what's coming up for you, what that reaction is. Step 2, we want to identify objectively what happened. So, let's say our teen told us that they hated us, right? Oh, that's not easy, right? That is, that's really hard. I know it is for me anyway. And so, okay, my teen got angry because I had to, have a rule, right? That they can't go over to a parent's or a friend's house if a parent's not there, and the parent wasn't going to be there. And I said, nope, sorry, the rule stands. And so they get really angry and they're like, I hate you, Mom. And so I'm doing lots of deep breathing, right? Lots of deep breathing. And I'm thinking about what just happened, right? Well, I said that they couldn't go. And I hear they're very angry about that. And so they're taking that anger out on me. Okay, that's all right. And I'm also kind of wondering if there might be something else going on for them. If some other thing in life is frustrating them at the moment. And then step 3, I ask, what is the best outcome that I could have in this situation, right? How can I respond in a way that's going to have the best outcome? And in that situation, that example that I'm giving, I would reflect back to them what I'm hearing from them. And it's not the words that they're using, it's the feeling that I'm hearing. So I hear that you're upset that I won't let you go to a friend's house when a parent's not there. I hear that you're really angry with me that I won't let you do that. I hear that. And then step 4 is ask, how can I make this happen, right? So how I thought about how I'm going to say it, but then in that situation, another way about how to make it happen is also letting my kid know, okay, we can't do that, but we have some other choices here, right? That you can have your friend come over here. I'm happy to go pick them up. And you guys can have that time here. So that I can think of that during that pause time so I can say it, right? I can empathize with them. I can reflect back their feelings that, man, it sucks when your mom says you can't go to a friend's house and you're really looking forward to it, but there is another option. All is not lost, right? You can have them come over here, and I'm willing to help with that. So we want to remember to be part of the solution and not perpetuating problems. So by focusing on the underlying feelings and issues, we're able to problem solve what that issue is and not get sucked into the, oh my God, I can't believe you told me you hate me and that's unacceptable and now you're grounded, right? Because that goes off on a whole other tangent. And yes, we may not want our kid to say those things to us, okay? But I would say I would much rather them say it to me so we can work through it than not. That I as the adult can weather that I can handle them telling me that, and I'm not going to fall into lots of little pieces, right? Like, I can handle it. I'm an adult. I have a lot of coping strategies, and I know my kid is not going to always be happy with me. I can think back to lots of times that I wasn't happy with my own parents. So, of course, that is a part of the journey, and it's to be expected. And yes, we can talk about respect, right? But I think we also need to hear what's going on for them. And our behavior has a lot of influence. That's the key to this. Our behavior, how we respond, makes a huge difference. So today we have been talking about being a good role model for your teen, which, it means we have to rise to the occasion, and we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard because we are an adult. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to be perfect, right? It doesn't mean that we aren't going to make our own mistakes. And I really enjoy helping to support parents on this journey. And so if you're feeling stuck with some of this, if it's, if you're like, oh my gosh, but Carlene, like there's parts of that just don't make sense to me. Like I was raised a whole different way and I understand, right? Like it's new information and, you can do with it what makes sense for you. But if you'd like more information and you'd like to stay connected with us, you can go to the website at relationshipsmatteraustin.com and you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. And we also have articles and videos on our blog. And then we have information on our services. We have parenting support, teen counseling, family counseling. We also offer online counseling as well. And then you can find information to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You can contact us by phone or email. Our phone number is 512-994-0432. And our email is carlene@relationshipsmatteraustin.com. Please reach out, ask me questions, or leave a comment below. I love to help parents and their teens, and I wish you so much love and patience on this journey of parenting, which can be challenging. So take care.